When you get a job, you're supposed to start saving money for your retirement. We're talking about it in my math class, where we talk about all the math that goes into budgets and jobs and taxes, you know, adult stuff. But I'm sitting there thinking about my life expectancy, wondering how I'm supposed to think about retirement when the longest I'll live is 40, if I'm lucky. If I was normal, I might live to be 80. If I was just gay, I might live to be 60. If I was just gay and depressed, I might live to be 50. If I was just gay, depressed, and an addict, I might live to be 40. And being trans all on its own gives me a life expectancy of 30. And if I choose to take off 20 years for being gay and take off 10 years for being depressed and take addiction into account, I was dead before I was even born, which I guess makes sense. Like, I never even had a chance. Like, I've always been destined to be cautionary tale or a tragedy. I mean, what's the difference anyway? Like, I was born to die young, but for some reason that doesn't count as a valid excuse to not do my homework. Like, I've got 23 years to live if I'm lucky, so yeah, learning about a 401k feels pretty pointless. I used to love those questions that asked what you would do if you knew when you would die, because they used to be theoretical answers to hypothetical questions. I don't love those questions anymore. They remind me that I do, in fact, know when I am going to die, and it is not as fun as I imagined it to be. I thought that if I knew how long I had to live, I would seize the day. I would live the life I always wanted, but I guess I always imagined that I would be an adult, already well into life with just a few more things to cross off my bucket list. I accidentally imagined living too long. Adults have been telling me since I was a kid that I am wise beyond my years, and that makes a lot more sense now. It makes a lot of sense that I have always been trying to fit as much living into my life as I can. It makes sense that I started developing serious depression at 12 years old because even though that seems pretty young to a lot of people, it fits right into the timeline of my life. It makes sense that I got my sexuality kind of sort of figured out when I was 15, and I got my gender kind of sort of figured out when I was 16, and I don't know what I'm going to figure out about myself while I'm 17, but I do know that there's going to be someone who's going to live twice as long as me who tells me that I'm too young to know who I am. I'm too young for everything. I'm too young to be depressed and on my 5th antidepressant in the last 4 years, and I'm too young to have lost track of how many people I fucked, and I'm too young to be able to recognize psychological abuse, and I'm also too young to die, but I will. My entire life has been a string of premature, but that's never stopped me before. And whether I die at the hands of a hate crime or my body or my mind, I don't know yet, and that not knowing, that void of mystery and doom, it doesn't intimidate me nearly as much as it used to. When I was a kid, I thought everyone lived to be 100. I thought that was a normal age to be, so the possibility of unforeseen fatal accidents was really terrifying for a long time, because I thought I would live to be 100, and I didn't want to miss out on all that time by dying young.